The president's confidential affidavit in the DA's court action to compel South Africa to arrest Russian President Vladimir Putin has been made public. Media watchdog Media Monitoring Africa has filed papers at the Gauteng High Court asking to be admitted as an amicus in the DA's court action. The ICC issued an arrest warrant for Putin, which South Africa is obliged to execute if he arrives for the BRICS summit in Johannesburg in August. The MMA's bid came after President Cyril Ramaphosa filed a confidential answering affidavit, which the DA objected to. In its papers, the organization argues that South Africa's constitutional duties is to ensure open access to documents filed in court proceedings, together with its international duties under the Rome Statute. And for the latest on this, we're joined by our reporter, Canny Maphanga. Canny, good afternoon to you and welcome. So the court didn't accept, the president's argument that he was prohibited from sharing the details because of international law. Just talk us through how it unfolded.
Well, good afternoon to you, Iman, and the viewers at home. Well, actually, what happened today is that we had reported that the Media Monitoring Africa had filed papers to be admitted as an amicus to ensure that they could assist the court in determining whether the president's confidential affidavit should be made public or not. However, before they could argue on this, they expected to argue about this on Friday in the court. The Gauteng High Court, sitting in Johannesburg, the full bench there, gave an order that all documents pertaining to this matter, the main application of the DA, should be uploaded up to the database of the Gauteng High Court, i.e. it was made public, and then we were able to report on it further. So the MMA was successful in their bid without even having to argue before the court. But just to give a little background, what this emanates from is the DA's actual legal challenge itself. What we're dealing with here is that regarding debates surrounding the Russian president, the arrest warrant issued against him by the ICC, and how South Africa must handle that going forward should he arrive for the BRICS summit in August. Now, because there hasn't been a clear, distinct answer from the South African government on what they would do next if he were to land in South Africa for the BRICS summit. Because of that, the opposition party then approached the court to get that assurance in the form of a declaratory order, where they seek that safeguard or that blueprint, if I could put it that way, to state there in that order that should he arrive in SA during that period of the 20th to the 24th of August, then these are the guidelines as set by the court that the South African government have to follow. So the MMA was just a friend in the that was admitted by the Gauteng High Court in this bigger case regarding Putin. Now, my colleague, SABC political editor Mzondile Beche, caught up with the president while he was unveiling the Mandela statues in the Eastern Cape. Let's just have a listen to what the president had to say following that court order.
That's what the court has ruled, so that's fine. And the hearing is going to be on Friday, and that too is fine. So all these things are in process. We are handling all these things from a diplomatic point of view. The issues of the grain, the Secretary General is involved. We have been asked to also put in words here and there. So all these things are being discussed as we move on. There are intricate diplomatic issues because on President Putin's side, he feels that there are certain commitments that have to be adhered to, which have not yet been adhered to, and that's precisely what we are communicating to the Secretary General as well.
So that was the president just accepting the Gauteng High Court order there, that despite initially submitting it as a confidential affidavit, and now that it has been made public, he seems to be accepting of that order, Iman. So on Friday, we'll be hearing the application from the DA as well as the president's submissions with regard to that.
All right, Canny, thank you very much for the update. You talked earlier on about, some part of this bigger picture, which is motivating the DA's court action to get clarity on what the government should do should Putin actually arrive in the country. And the president and the president, they're alluding to this problem. What would be an obvious problem? The government potentially sparking a war with Russia should it heed to the ICC's request to arrest and surrender Putin. So these are big moments, and big events that are taking place in South Africa, which will obviously extend further beyond the court and this particular moment vis-a-vis Putin. That is our reporter, Canny Maphanga.